while I was going through mental illness, my heart went out to people who lived in poverty, war-torn countries. I'm like, how do you do that? I mean, I was going through mental illness in Canada with one of the better mental health care systems, although we need a lot of work here, just like all the other developed countries.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my heart just went out to them, and I stumbled upon this TED Talk in 2017 by Vikram Patel, and
Mm-hmm.
he's one of the global leaders for mental health in developing countries. And it was the first piece of information I'd ever found on the web about this cause. So I started researching it more, and I found a lot of information on it. And with my website, I've tried to give an overview of the things going on. A lot of the information is scattered across the web. I'm I'm trying to make my website a bit of a hub. I don't go into great depth in any one thing, but I try to point people in a bunch of different directions. Like, look, here's someone. This group's working on this. This group's working on this. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into that.
That's fantastic, and I think it is a very important point to say that while in developing countries like Canada, US, and Britain, and all over the world, any developing country has really still a very far way to go before we can say we have a good structure to support mental illness and to treat mental health challenges and to educate. Of course, you're absolutely right. You and I are incredibly blessed to have faced our challenges in this country rather than in a developing country. So I think that shows a lot of heart and empathy on your part, and there's no doubt that it is needed badly. Now, let me ask you this question, because while I am a stigma fighter, as my shirt says, and while I am an expert on mental health and mental illness, I really fully acknowledge that knowledge and that expertise ends in the developing world. I don't have expertise on the mental health or the mental illness statistics in in developing countries versus the developed world. So what is the state of mental health care in developing countries? I'm assuming it's not very good, but tell me what you know.
Yeah, so the stats are I've actually I'm a little proud of this. I made up one stat myself. I mean, I didn't make it up, but the World Health Organization throws out stats of so many hundreds of millions of people in the world who have mental illness, and then a percentage of those who have who are in developing countries.
Okay.
So I just calculated it out, and I've tried to make that stat. I throw that out a lot. It works out to over 270 million people in developing countries with no mental health care. And that's so, for example, with clean water, there are around 700 million people with no clean water in the world. So 270 million is up there with the leading causes for sure. And even the mental health experts say 270 million sounds low. It's
Yeah.
hard to get numbers. The other thing, there's three stats I like to throw out to people, and that's one I just said. The other
Mhm.
one is some countries have only one psychiatrist per million people. So some
One
countries are even
psychiatrist per million people.
per million people. Yeah,
Wow.
it's yeah, like you'll go. There's actually a chart. The World Health Organization has a chart where it shows all the countries and the number of psychiatrists they have per 100,000 people. And I mean, some are less than one. I mean, you'll go on a country with like that has 40 million people, and they've got like three psychiatrists for the whole country.
Oh yeah, and that's just impossible. That's so many people who cannot access the very specific expertise and guidance they need.
Yeah. The other stat I share, and it's the most shocking, is some people are actually kept in chains with mental illness. They're tied to a tree, tied to a bed. Some of them have their feet through a log. And the stats on those are, they estimate, and it's really hard to get stats on those because those people are hidden a lot of the time in sheds and whatnot. They estimate hundreds of thousands in 60 countries. So they don't use the word million or millions. It's estimated less than a million of those 270 million or more. So it's not every, but not so most people aren't kept in chains, but there are staggering numbers that are. So